We're live streaming over on Twitch as well. Okay. It's telling me that it's uploading, so it's at 72% or something. I'm not sure if it's actually being received. Okay, I got an email. We're live on YouTube. Yeah. Okay, so I think we got some people with us. Hello, welcome to this live stream with Shantam Nityama. And there's the chat there, so if you would love to contribute at any point, feel free. Hey, how you doing? We are streaming over on Twitch, so I'm going to do a brief introduction for those who may see this stream on Twitch, but they may not know who Shantam Nityama is, so I'm going to share a little bit about that. We're talking about the orgasm gap today here with Nityama because there's a lot of conversation out there on, the very big difference that people are having. Men have one experience in sex and women have a totally different experience, and mostly that experience is the difference in orgasm. So for a woman, a lot of women report not really feeling satisfied, not feeling met in sex, whereas men often 95% of the time achieve satisfaction in their sexual encounters with women, according to statistical research. So we have this gap between men and women's experience, but we also have a big gap between the mainstream perception and the mainstream conversation around sex, and very little space where people can actually discover and experience the depths that they are really capable of experiencing in their body. Hey, so it's good to see people in the chat. Thanks for the comments and welcome, Nityama. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. How you doing?
Okay, great. We're talking about this gap that exists between women and men's experience, and you've been working with men and women for a really long time. A lot of your foundational work is covered in your Nirvana Bodywork film, which is kind of like the beginning of your journey, where you really started to break down for people the energetics inside of a woman and how a woman actually experiences and opens up to her orgasmic nature. Whereas the mainstream conversation really frames a woman's orgasm as like a peak and something that's quite difficult for a woman to experience. What would you share about that, especially given the mainstream climate at the moment?
The mainstream climate at the moment is that most people are just completely lost, completely confused about everything. They don't know if a dog is still a dog anymore, a cat is still a cat, or a woman is still a woman, or a man is still a man. They have no idea what's going on out here. And it's okay with them that it's that confused and mixed up. And they're still trying to figure out how to keep connecting with one another. So it just gets more and more bizarre as the days go by. So
Would you say
it's
that sorry, there's a bit of
what?
delay on the line. It's a bit of delay on the connection. Um, what would you say is at the heart of that confusion?
That there's no communication from either side. Men are not communicating with the women, and women are not communicating with the men. Nobody has any real uh, down to earth, honest communication with one another. Most women are saying that they're not having as much orgasms as men. I don't know how they got to that conclusion, but Uh, okay, why aren't you? Why are women refusing to talk to these men that they're having sex with? That's my question.
Mm,
What is that about? You got
mm,
a mouth. You've got the ability to communicate. Women are communicating about what they don't like about all kinds of other strange things in the society. But the thing that matters the most to them, they claim, they don't have real good communication about it at all. So,
mm,
for one, she needs to learn how to communicate. As long as there's no communication, there's going to be a gap of some kind. If it's nothing
mm,
but a gap in communication.
mm.
So,
So,
and go ahead.
at the heart of that communication gap in itself, what would you say is driving that, reluctance of people to talk to one another, to understand one another?
Does, does, the, does the woman know what she wants? Does she understand her body,
Mm,
herself?
mm,
Because if she doesn't understand her body, then it's going to be difficult for her to communicate to somebody else how to be with her body when in actuality, she may in no way know how her body needs, how somebody needs to be with her body. And these are things that you will learn through your own understanding, your own exploration, your own communication with other women or other men or something. So there's just very little real honest communication going on between men and women on this plane at this point at all.
and I would say that a lot of women necessarily don't have the experience of even, having that level of bliss in the body that they can even they don't expect it. They don't know it's possible. So how do you communicate with a man about something if you don't even know it's possible? If everything that you've ever experienced or been taught has been so short, because the national, here in the UK, but I'm sure it's kind of around the world, where they've done statistical tests, and they've said, the a high performing man will last 15 minutes in bed. Eh, Like there's something amiss with that picture. And so
Well,
women,
I don't know. I have no idea what neighborhood they're in. Neighborhood I grew up in, 15 minutes would be almost unheard of as far as that being the amount of time that a man would have sex. Women in the neighborhood I grew up in complain because men be having sex too fucking long. And so I don't know where she's at. I mean, I have no idea where does she hang out at where the men do 15-minute sex.
mm. Well, I mean, a big case of that was, it's been very much in the mainstream. There was a couple of women here in the UK who became really famous and were all over the news for having like 1,000 interactions in a day with different men. So each
Yeah,
man had a
and
and a
they
half.
had to be less than they had to be less than half a minute.
Yeah.
It
So
wasn't even a minute.
what is going on there?
I, she just done went to her head with sex. It ain't got nothing to do with sex. You can't have sex in a minute
Yeah, but what about the men
and
who
have
are
it.
the ones who are what about all the men who are the ones who are actually lining up for that kind of experience? They're the ones who are, going along with it. What about their side of the street in this?
Well, they may have thought she was cute and they just wanted to put their penis in her for a second. A second would have been enough, let alone a whole minute. A second would have been enough. Just to say I had some of that.
but that doesn't make any sense. I mean, if we go to the Kama Sutra, okay, so the whole teaching around the Kama Sutra is that a woman's pleasure is what keeps the universe in balance. But we are
Well,
so
then if
far
that's
away
the
from
case, this the universe is way out of balance right now. Then, if that's the case,
yeah,
it's
well,
probably
if we look
wobbling.
yeah, and if we look at it, women, I mean, the narrative, the even um obstetricians and people who work in women's sexual health are talking about the fact that a woman doesn't experience orgasm as a type of dysfunction on her, something to do with her body being dysfunctional. But the whole culture around women's bodies, in terms of it's been medicalized, women's bodies are continually being interfered with. They're being constantly medicalized and interventions are nonstop. The pleasure aspect of a woman actually experiencing pleasure in her body, the women I speak to have become way too fearful about their body. Even in childbirth, a woman is now unable to open up her body to experience childbirth as being blissful because you're taught to fear it. You're conditioned to fear it. You're conditioned to go along with interventions as the only way that you can safely give birth. And so the repercussions of this are massive. It goes beyond sex. It goes into an entire way of living where the body is so shut down because it's constantly braced for attack.
And the mind has got to be extremely shut down. And evidently, everybody has given up all critical thinking. So now, if a woman is moving around this planet with all the lies and confusion going on this planet and all of the medical malpractice that goes on, if she doesn't have a mind to really look at what's going on, she's up for grabs anyway. I don't know what could save her. She's just
Mm,
wandering around out there. Anything could happen to you if you run around out there with your mind cut off.
mm. So what would you say a
So
man's role? I mean, I hear from you like a woman's it's her responsibility to communicate, to learn to communicate about what pleases her and what brings her pleasure. But what about the man? Like, where does the responsibility lay with him? If men can experience satisfaction quite relatively quickly, it seems that that a lot of men are not particularly interested in helping women experience this state within themselves.
whatever a man is experiencing in his life and whatever a woman experiencing in her life, it all started in each one of them's mind. It was happening in their mind before it started happening in their experience.
Mm,
So what are men thinking about women at this point? And what are women thinking about men? Because
mm,
they pretty much sound like they're getting all the negativity that they think about one another. It seems to be what they all have on their plate right about now.
mm,
So I'm saying, look at what you're thinking. What kind of thoughts do you spend your time thinking about in the course of a day? And whenever you think about a man, what comes up in your mind? Are you seeing him uplifted and upheld by your femininity and nurtured by your femininity? Are you seeing all of them as just something not to take any time with? I have no idea what thoughts people are carrying around in their minds. But one thing for sure, whatever thoughts that they're carrying around in their mind, that's what their life looks like now at this point.
mm,
So
mm,
I'm real reluctant to put the blame on men for the fact that women are not having orgasms. You
mm,
know, uh, that's a bit strong for me. When I know from working with women that most of them live in their head. Orgasm never happened in the head.
Mm,
That's just never where they. It's sex is of the body. So if a woman is in her head, then she's missing her body. And that's what I would say to her. You're missing your body. And what are you needing to communicate to the men that you're around that will help you come back and be in your body and allow them to interact with you and help you to stay in your body.
mm.
You have
So
to come to
somebody,
understand about yourself rather than just sitting back waiting on men to come and do you do you with sex in a way that you want without any communication.
mm,
It's highly unlikely.
mm, mm. I mean, just from
Highly
talking to
unlikely.
women, recognize that there's a lot of a shutdown in the body because of the amount of holding on to things that are stemming really from the mind. So we have the wild shrink. Hey, Yasmin, nice to see your comment. So you've said that before a man can touch a woman's body, the gross part of her, he needs to touch her energetic body. Without a partner, how does a woman touch her own energetic body herself?
She should be touching it all the time anyway because she lives in it. And she lives in her body energetically. So that means energetically being in touch with your own body on a moment to moment basis, not on a just when a man looks at you, all of a sudden now you realize, oh, I have a body. No,
Mm,
you have a body 24/7. Do you
mm.
ever stop, recognize, and take notice of what's going on in that body? What kinds of things are you holding in that body that makes it difficult for you to breathe when you're even in a man's presence? And it don't even have to be about sex. Most women can't hardly breathe just being in the room with a man, either because they dislike him or because they are so disoriented in the presence of a man until they're not really present in a way that allows their energy to engage in any kind of realistic way.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, let's talk about that for a minute because, you know, this is one of the things that you're most famous for is being able to bring women into those deep orgasmic states from across the world, not even needing to be in the room. And a lot of people look at it and they go, "How is that even possible? How is that even a thing?" So you've
But
got
see,
couples who, yeah.
couples who what?
I was just going to say, you've got people who are in the same physical room with one another, having a challenge around communicating and a challenge around sustaining sex for any longer than 15 minutes. And then you've got you being like in another part of the world, able to enable women to experience deep states of bliss for extended periods of time. So what is going on there?
Well, first of all, everybody has to realize you have never been just a physical body. There's no such thing as a physical body. Quantum physics has debunked that myth all over the place at this point. In other words, there's no such thing as solid anything in the world that you live in. It's
Mhm.
all made of energy. And when you keep breaking energy down, at the end of the day, all they can say is that 99.99999% of the space is nothing but space. It's empty. There's nothing there. They've broken the energy down as far as they can, and when they get down deep enough, it's just empty. So
So what is
this
it
is
that
letting
is
you know
what
what
is
about
moving
what?
that, what is moving that energy in people?
Their minds.
Mhm.
Their minds, either their minds are moving in a negative direction, which is creating negative experiences for them all day long, every day, nonstop,
Mhm.
or they're moving with positive intentions about things that are much more highly elevated in thought, in the realm of thought. What are you thinking about? What are you entertaining? And even entertaining the thought that all men don't know how to have sex. Okay, that's gonna be your experience with the
Mhm.
men that you come in contact with, because you've already set it up that way with your mind.
Mm.
So once
Mhm.
you set it up that way, then uh, refrain from being surprised when they show up, and that's how they are. You
Mm.
wrote the script. You
Mhm.
wrote it. And however you write the script, that's the way your life is going to play out for you. Even if every other woman here is having great sex, you still going to have lousy sex because that's what you expect to have. And the universe is never going to say no to you. Whatever you say you want, whatever you say you think you're going to have, you're going to have it.
Mhm.
It's guaranteed. Because the mirror,
Mhm.
only thing the mirror can do is reflect back to you what you said you wanted. And sometimes we say we want the negative thing by harping on that, and that's where we put all our energy. And then after we have that negative thing, then we want to talk about how much we want the positive. But you never think about the positive when you have an opportunity. It's always negative. If it's
Mm.
always negative, whatever you're thinking about, your life is going to be mostly negative because that's where all your energy goes. So start paying attention to what are you thinking about? What do you, when you think of a man, what do you think about? I used to tell men all the time, when you come in contact with a woman, the first thought that you have about that woman is what she's going to end up bringing back to you, and you'll never be able to stop that from being what she brings to you. The first impression of what she picks up energetically that you're thinking about her when you first meet her, that's what she's going to continue to keep bringing back to you, bringing back to you, bringing back to you until you could throw up. So it's all about what people are doing with their minds, men and women. If women don't like what they experience, they need to take a look at what kinds of thoughts do they play with where men are concerned.
Mhm.
Are your thoughts of building men up and bringing them to a better place with how to understand women? And are you entering into intelligent conversations with men yourself rather than bashing and blaming? Are you being honest and open about what you're going through? Because that's how this situation is going to change, and it's going to take both sides. The women are not going to be able to cop out and say the men just don't know how to do this and do that. Okay, maybe they don't. That that's neither here nor there. But one thing I know for sure, you're creating your world.
Mm.
The women that I have come in contact with, they have known me. So I know that they were thinking something that a man is capable of something, because otherwise they couldn't have drawn me into their life and had the experience of being with me. Some of the women that I come in contact with, they thought of me 20 years before they ever met me and had made a thing with themselves inside. I'm going to meet this man in my lifetime. And
Mhm.
they didn't stop until they were in the same room with me. But that's
Mhm.
determination. That's being committed to what you say you want to experience. Another woman may sit there and say, yeah, I love to experience that with a man, but I don't want to spend the money on it. Well, that's on you saying I don't want to spend money on myself. Well, that's it's a sad thing. But yeah, you don't have to. And I'm definitely not encouraging you to spend money that you don't think is worth spending or was worthwhile you're spending. Are you even worth it? Maybe you don't think you even worth having an orgasm or spending some money on yourself. Then I don't know what anybody, I have no idea what anybody else is going to do about that. There's no
Mm,
way I or anybody else can override you having no concern and no care and thinking that you deserve absolutely nothing in life. That's an
mm,
attitude that you're going to have to figure out what to do, something, how to deal with it in some way.
mhm,
So, you know, I same thing with them. If you're in displeased with all the women that you come in contact with and you don't think that they're worthy of anything, then that's what kind of woman you're going to continue to draw into your life. You- You've already set it up. You wrote it in stone. That's how it is. I don't
mm,
want to be bothered with them. Okay, don't be bothered with them. Whatever they have that they could have brought you that was valuable to you, you just saying, I'd rather go without it. And nobody can stop you from having that attitude. That's a fair thing to say if that's how you feel about yourself. But I feel sorry for you that that's where you have come to with what you want for yourself. You don't want any
mm.
more than that. And as long as you think that way, you will get nothing better than that.
So, one way that people can begin to unravel, you know, some of the false beliefs, I'd say, about themselves, about what they've held on to, the patterning and the conditioning that they've held on to, and to come into a place where they are more attuned to a frequency that supports their pleasure, that supports their a capacity to experience pleasure, that it supports their expansion in experiencing pleasure, is the field. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the space of the field and what people get to experience in that respect?
Well, the field is nothing but a place where a certain energy or a certain frequency of energy is being held consistently in the room where a group of people have met. So now that frequency gets to interact with their beings and they get more and more acclimated to it just from being in the room. They don't even need to do anything. Just be there in silence and pay attention to what's going on in the body. Because if a higher frequency is being held in the room, it's impacting you and it's making things move in you, it's shifting things, making things change. So, but you need to be looking and paying attention while you're in the room to see what shifted and how did it shift. If you never acknowledged that it shifted and you never saw that it shifted, then for you nothing shifted. You've got to make it a conscious thing that you're tracking. You got to be tracking yourself in this world. That's what this world is about. Is you tracking your own energy and getting to know it and how your energy moves as opposed to everybody else's energy.
So, Yasmin, I think this is your comment again. Osho said that all of his teachings could come down to one word: watch. In my somatic meditative practice, I wonder where in the body is the best place to sit and watch. Is it the third eye? Is it the heart? From what place are you watching?
Your whole, your whole body is yours to watch. You can watch your vagina, you can watch your navel, you can watch your heart, you can watch all over you. You can see into anything that's in your body at any
Mm,
given moment. So become curious about the whole thing. The whole thing is potentially orgasmic, But do you know that
Yeah, that's a
from
really good point.
direct?
it, there's a great Substack called The Female Edge. It's written by a woman in the space where she works a lot with women's sexual health and women's hormonal health. And she was saying, part of the issue with women and orgasm is that the clitoris was only just discovered as being much bigger than it is, and how essentially the clitoris is to orgasm. But in your experience, you able to touch a woman from across the world without even, it's like any part of the body can be orgasmic. It's not one part of the body that's confined to being
Every part
orgasmic.
of the body is orgasmic. Not could be, it is. The only thing is, if I'm a man, I have to be with each part of a woman's body and keep being with it and playing with it and touching it and breathing into it until I figure out what is the trigger that makes that particular spot that I'm with come into orgasm. I've got to stay with her and feel her until I come to that realization. At that point, I can take that one spot. I could take her little toe, I could take her little finger, I could take her earlobe, I could take her eyelid, I could take 2 or 3 strands of hair from her head and rub it between my fingers. I could rub my finger in a circle on the back of her hand. She's orgasmic all over.
Mm,
Just nobody has ever taken the time enough to figure out how does she come to orgasm in this place and how does she come to orgasm in this place. They could be slightly different. And
mm,
the truth of the matter is that the woman has so many tactile receptors in her body, tens of thousands of them, all over, until the whole um, I say the whole role of a man is to open up as many of those tactile receptors in her as he possibly can, so that she becomes just a orgasmic wave that's just going on and on and on, because he knows how to energetically keep interacting with all these tactile receptors in her, to the point that once they're open, they just keep on waving into orgasm after orgasm after orgasm. And these aren't, they may be peak orgasms, they may be waves, the waves that just keep going forever and going deeper and deeper in her, depending on how much she is willing to go deep in herself and keep expressing her sounds and breathing deeper in order for things to keep opening up in her. She can help to accentuate her own experience through her breath.
mm. What is it
Breath is
like? What
made.
what would you say about for men who want to develop the capacity to enable a, a woman to experience herself in
Wait,
that way?
first you got to have a woman that wants to open herself up. She's got to be present in the room and breathing and allowing different sounds. And when the energy touches on something in her, rather than her having something come up and her just look at it and let it pass on by, every feeling in the body has a sound counterpart to go with it. Are you, as a woman, making the sounds that go along with the feelings you're experiencing? And if the answer to that is no, I don't do that. Well, why?
So
What are
that's
you
kind of,
you sound for?
can you explain for people the difference between emotion and feeling?
Emotion is in the past. Feeling is always something that's in the present moment. I feel cold. It's hard for me to emotion cold, but I can feel cold because it's in the present moment. So I can feel that in my body.
Mm.
So emotions are always got something to do with something coming up from your past that's then got triggered into your consciousness. A feeling arises out of something directly that you're experiencing in this now moment.
Mm.
It's happened presently.
So when you're
So that's
encouraging
the
women,
difference.
when you're encouraging a woman to communicate with the man that she's with, it's really about communicating the feeling, as in not the emotion that she's riding off necessarily, but really about the present moment feeling that she's experiencing.
The the emotion that she's right now, most of it is like I said, it's from the past. It's some old something that she had go on in her life and that she got really triggered. And now whenever anything even resembles that or comes close to that, she immediately goes back to that emotion and pulls it up and experiences it again. It's a way of torturing herself.
Mm. Mm.
There's nothing to go back and grab an emotion to bring it forward to the present day. For what? What can you do with it? All you can do with it, with feelings and emotions is feel them and let them go. You can't sell them to nobody. Nobody will buy them from you. They're not worth anything to anybody but you. So,
So how
uh,
can a man manage that in an encounter with a
how can
woman, where how is it how what is the best way for a man to navigate that terrain when he's with a woman and it's triggering past memories or past experiences or emotional things versus her being
well,
in her body able to
does
feel?
does she want does she want to go into it and work it out? Because if she doesn't want to go into it and work it out, there's nothing he can do. Nothing.
Mm.
Even if he's willing to be there and hold her and whatever. If she doesn't want to go there, she's in no way going there. She's
Mm.
got to decide. I can see that there's something there. And if you hold me, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to ask and see what this is and bring it up so that I can be done with it once and for all.
Mhm. Mhm.
If she in no way wants to do that, nobody can make you go back and process what you've been holding on to your whole life. You've got to make a conscious choice that you want to be free of it yourself.
We got
And if a
another
woman does
sorry.
say that again,
I got another comment question to read to you. How to increase
okay,
masculine and feminine energy for man and
how
woman,
to
because how to increase masculine and feminine energy for men and women. Um, because what I observe may be I am wrong men are becoming feminine and even are becoming more and I think women are becoming more masculine. It's a little hard to understand that comment. How to increase masculine
well,
and feminine
first of
energy?
all, my question to this person would be, what do you mean you becoming more feminine? And why are you choosing that route? What is guiding you down the feminine road? Are you telling yourself you like men, or how are you becoming more feminine?
Okay,
And
so
what's going on if you're only interacting with masculine women? What's that about? What's drawing you to masculine women?
mm,
I need a little bit more information right there to be able to
someone
address it and do it any justice.
what movements or practices are recommended as a practice or ritual for women who want to connect with their body on a daily basis to anchor into their body and out of their mind.
Sitting and doing a little simple practice. Breathing, inhaling for 5 seconds. Once you've inhaled and your stomach has come out and you've inhaled, then hold it for 5 seconds and then exhale out of your mouth, gently blowing it out of your mouth for 5 seconds. When you get to it all out, then hold that for 5 seconds and then breathe in for 5 seconds more. Hold it for 5. Breathe out for 5. Hold it out for 5 and breathe in again. And just keep doing that, maybe 10 minutes a day, in order to come to know and understand how your body shifts and changes just from you breathing for 5 seconds in an exhale, in an inhale, and then 5 second exhale, and then 5 seconds of just holding it in between the two. And watch how it activates your nervous system. It starts to removing stress out of your body. It starts to do a number of things that will amaze you. Um, So anything where you like focusing on your internal experience while breathing is going to actually bring you more in touch with how you function. Uh, I highly recommend too that people that have an opportunity, there's something called a mindfold. It's a type of blindfold that you can buy on Amazon, and it has the eyes cut out so that when you put the blindfold on, your eyelids don't rub up against the blindfold. There's a slot cut out so that you can open your eyes even while you got the blindfold on and still be in darkness. And allow yourself just to spend some time in that darkness and hearing yourself breathe in that darkness and looking, staring into the darkness. Because when you look out and your eyes never can find something to light upon and investigate, at some point your energy in your eyes makes a U-turn and comes back and allows you to look inside of you, and you can start to see what's going on in you and what are you holding inside, even seeing into your subconscious and seeing all the things that you have stored in your subconscious and forgot about. They'll start wanting to come up and out of your subconscious with you looking at it all. So that's
Mm,
one way to start cleansing yourself on the inside, cleansing your subconscious so you don't have so much junk that's just always messing with your mind.
mm,
So there are a
mhm,
number of different ways to do it, which is what really wanting to I'm really wanting to get into, even in the field for that matter, is how do you start to utilize some of these simple little exercises in order to keep taking yourself deeper and deeper inside to get to know you. You've never studied you. Study your mind. See how it works. See how
mm,
you constantly get distracted and pulled away from things that really need your attention, but it never can have it because you're always getting pulled into some distraction over here. Music, conversations about nothing, people that are talking to you about nothing. Stop giving your energy away to all these things and keep your energy at home and let it investigate and come to know this marvelous creation that you are and all the different powerful things that you can do. You can talk to existence and it'll do whatever you ask it to do, but nobody talks to it. They don't have time. They're busy talking to idiots.
So
So
Yasmin has
you
another.
you have okay,
Sorry. Yasmin
no problem.
saying, can you elaborate on the technique of opening the tactile receptors if you're working on your own?
If you are living in this world that we live in today, there are so many men that would love to be in the presence of a beautiful woman and be able to touch her. Just touch her, not even really even wanting anything from her, not even maybe in no way even wanting to have sex with her. Just would love to be in her presence, give her a massage, touch her. Men love to see women have pleasure. That's a man's greatest joy. How many men have you asked to come in and give you a massage and allow you to get your tactile receptors open up? You're going to have to risk, you're going to have to come out of your comfort zone in order to create circumstances in your life that will allow you to open to your life.
Hmm.
M- Women wanting to open up themselves, okay, that's a long, hard road. You can possibly do it. As far as me telling you exactly how to do it, I have no idea what to tell you about it. When there are opportunities on this plane for you to be touched and it be okay. But you got to say that it's okay. Nobody, no man's gonna just grab you on the street, throw you down, and start opening your tactile receptors. But I'm sure that
Um,
there are. Go ahead.
no, I go ahead. It's fine. Go ahead. Keep going.
Is there another question? Is that
Yeah,
what you were getting ready to?
there's another question, and also somebody's Nikki. I think I misread your or misinterpreted your comment, so I apologize. Sometimes it can be hard to read the text and get the meaning correct. So another question is: you've said that men need one thing. Men need patience. What is the one thing that women need?
Clarity of mind. In other words, stay with the facts of what's going on rather than creating your own interpretation of what you think you're looking at. Stay with the facts rather than rambling around in your emotions trying to figure out what something means. That's the most devastating thing pattern a woman could ever establish in her life, to be rambling around in her head trying to interpret every move that a man makes and what does it mean to me. In most cases, it means absolutely nothing to you unless you say it does. So stay in your lane and stay in there and keep learning about you and why do you even think the thoughts that you think. Where does that urge come from? Because a lot of it is just confusion.
Hmm.
So if you want to create more clarity of mind, then stop meddling in other people's business. It's in no way your job to be trying to interpret what a man is saying, changing his words around, giving your meaning to him, and telling him what he must mean and how he must feel about women. You in no way know how the man feels about women. And you probably never really honestly asked and being ready to accept whatever he says to you without you needing to comment or fix it in some way.
So that is that are the questions, unless there's other people with more questions. Um, so basically, if you would love to study the fundamentals, just the basics before the energetics, but it does include the energetics, right? The Nirvana Bodywork film documents quite a bit of the energetic work, but it's more of an in-person demo. That body work that you're doing on women, but the work that's energetic has progressed beyond that point, beyond the film. So you get to experience that when you come into the field. You get to experience it when you watch Transmission 4, which is a recording available on the website. And all of these are available so that people can start to develop their energetic experience, their energetic feeling, their capacity to feel the energetics rather than relying on purely physical sensation. Last
There,
question. Osho said,
there,
sorry.
there's no such thing as pure physical sensation.
Yeah.
All, all experience is energetic. It just looks like it's physical
Mm.
because of
Mm-hmm.
the illusion that you're under.
Yeah.
It's, it's all a lie, though. It's nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing solid in this 3D world. There is nothing that is solid. So if you run around interacting with people like they're solid and they never changing, or you interacting with a body or somebody's body like it's solid, you light years behind time, light years behind time.
Mm. Couple of more
So
questions
how do
and comments.
go ahead with the question?
Greetings, Brother Nityama. This is Brother Michael from Houston. Hey, Michael. Welcome
Hey,
here.
Mike.
Last question. Osho said he didn't want his people to impose celibacy. Hold on, that comment just jumped. That sex was a wrong on the ladder to celibacy. Do you agree with that?
The sex is wrong
A rung on the
on the
ladder to
sex is wrong.
a,
Uh,
like a notch on the ladder to celibacy?
um, I don't recall Osho's direct quote about that, and I would need a direct quote in order to be able to break down what he meant. Because
Mm.
otherwise, I'm just going to be making up something, which I would never want to do that on Osho, as eloquent as he was in stating the things that he stated on it while he was on this plane. So, out of respect for his work, I would refrain from attempting to answer that question with the limited amount of information that I have about what he said.
So this comment is from Baraka. Hey, Baraka. What can a man do to be more sensitive to a woman's needs? And what should a man look for in a woman who will be ready to explore herself deeply?
Well, for one thing, a woman that is really ready to explore herself has already come to a place where she has slowed way down in her movement and in her mental gyrations in her head. They are much quieter, much slower. She's just not buzzing around all the time from one thing to another, because that type of movement inside will never allow you to see clearly what you're doing, let alone what's going on around you. So there will be a certain poise, a certain ease within herself, and the ability to be in herself without jumping out with a response right off the bat for whatever you say to her. Less emotional reactionariness, and more being present and taking her time to feel her way through the conversation that you're having with her. So there will be a certain poise, a certain gentleness of movement that a woman that's really ready to go deep inside in sex, she's going to be displaying some things externally, even before you get to sex with her. She's going to have some different qualities that are going to stand out. It's going to be hard for you to miss them. They're so different than how most women move on the plane. So it's like developing ability as a man to recognize these qualities. And you got to be slowed down as a man in order to pick up on these things yourself. You can't be out there just jumping from one thing to another in your head and being caught up and looking at everybody's booty and all that kind of shit, and really perceive these things because they're more subtle, they're more undercover. So you've got to develop a sensitivity for being able to pick up on where a woman is and how is she being in your presence. You're a man there. How is she showing up in your presence? How is she displaying her ability to navigate the energy of a man and stay in herself without grabbing for attention and all these other subtle things that most women do repeatedly all day long, to the point that most of them will make you nauseous just watching. So paying attention and developing a sense of picking up on when a woman has real contact with her own internal nature and her own internal silence inside. These qualities you want to see in a woman, that you feeling like you want to enter into going deeper into the sex thing with her. If she has no ability to watch and pay attention, it's going to be a hard road attempting to go deep in sex with her. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Baba, for the clear explanation with the breath. Could you also recommend something that involves movement? This is for women to connect to their body and out of the mental junk.
Say that again.
Thank you, Baba, for the clear explanation with the breath. Could you also recommend something that involves movement? This is for women to connect to their body and out of the mental junk.
Well, how familiar are you with your body, with your breathing and the rhythm of your breathing, and how deep do you breathe? And there are some simple things that you could do that's gonna give you more longevity on this plane, as well as more from your body, more awareness in your body, and mm, hanging, 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 getting up under a limb of a tree and holding it and hanging for 5 seconds. That hanging is going to unravel things in your body and allow you to feel more, allow you to experience more energy running through your body. It's going to untangle certain meridians in your body so that you can feel more. So you want to come back to doing things that are going to assist you in feeling more. Another thing that you can do is squats. Just hold the doorknob on one side of the door and on the other in your hands, and squat down as low as you can. And if you have a hard time going down, put a book up under your heel and then squat. But squats is going to open up certain meridians in your body and allow energy to flow and circulate in you. The more that is going on, the more you're going to feel, and so forth and so on. Another thing that you could do, get down in the floor and see if you can get up without using your hands. In other words, don't use your hands in any way to push up to get up. Just from laying flat out on the floor, move around and bring your legs up under you while laying there, and gradually see if you can make it all the way to standing up without pulling up or using anything to pull up to get up. Once you can do that, a lot of things are going to open up in your body. A lot of things are going to be felt. So that's another thing that you can do. Um,
There's also, it
if you
reminds me
haven't,
that inside the woman's experience, which is on the website, there's a practice for women that involves the breath and the movement and touch, and connects a woman to her positive pole. So, the breast being a woman's positive pole, there's exercises inside that experience that can help a woman to start developing her sensitivity in and opening up her energy so that she's ready to actually be more receptive in sex with a man. So there's also that. So when I read the comment there, that's the other thing that we can share with you about what's possible and what's available in opening up in that respect. And another question: what is Nityama's opinion on hookups and casual sex?
that's what they are, hookups and casual sex. That, I
They're
feel
asking,
that's
yeah.
what they are, hookups
Does it
and casual sex.
does it affect us on the energy? Does it affect our energy when we engage with that?
Well, in most cases in that, you're in no way deepening your awareness at all, because everything is just hit and gone, bip bam and thank you ma'am. So how do you gather any real presence or knowledge of a woman, even if all you're going to do is run in there and jump up and down in it, skeet, meaning ejaculate, and then go on about your business, and you probably not going to even see her again. When do you plan to learn something from your experience?
Mm.
So yeah, no, it's gonna have an effect on you because it just got you scattered and got you running around, can't settle down to pay attention to any fucking thing. And that's already epidemic right now, that people can't hardly stop and slow down to do anything. So this just perpetuates it more if you're gonna do hookups, whatever that is. I mean, and at this point in time on this plane, are you sure whether the person has had COVID shots, other different things, all other kind of vaccines and stuff? Uh, what is going on? What's their history like? And did you really do a deep dive to even find out what their history is like? because things can put your health and your life in jeopardy at this point, just from being out there and being reckless and careless about jumping in bed with whoever will give you some.
So
You better look at
just
whether or not it makes that kind of movement.
we can't see you terribly well because you've gone to the side of the camera, so you're completely out of the frame. Just to let you know, we can't see you very well. But so where can you find the exercises, the ones with the polarity for women and opening up the body? Inside nityama.com, if you go to there's a page for women and men, and on that page there's a program called the Woman Experience, and those exercises are inside the Woman Experience. So okay, so where are we at now? All right, we're coming up to an hour. We just passed the hour mark, so we're going to close the live stream. Is there anything else that you would love to share with people at this time in terms of this work, and in terms of, closing the gap, making it possible for people to like exit the mainstream experience of what sex is, and how we've all been conditioned to experience it, and how we've all been sort of led down this road?
I've just, I've just, I'm completing right now a book, small book for women as to, and what it is a documentation of a women's group and what went on in the women's group, and it's all uh, written down in the book, and whether they can take it and go through it and go through the chapters and start to understand some of these things. And at some point, I'm going to be doing one also for men, but it yet to be finished. But the one for women is pretty much is done now. So
Mhm.
that'll be on coming up online for sale for 39 or 40 pounds.
Mhm.
And so I
We'll put those.
recommend that women
Yeah.
to get a little bit more understanding of how to even be with a man. There's things like that are in there. More communication about what to do with our breath, what to do with her awareness, and how to cultivate these different things. So that's one thing that's there already, and one for the men is coming really soon. So just keep a lookout for it.
Mm. Yeah, we're
And
coming.
I really appreciate and enjoyed the questions that were asked tonight. I hope that I was able to communicate something. And I was steering around certain things as far as the male female gap thing, because I don't want to give a lot of energy to that, because it feels distorted to me. And to put too much energy on it is just going to distort it even more. So I was just a little not rushing in to feed that. So
Mhm.
just so everybody can kind of where I was coming from and how I was kind of like, seems like I was evading or skating around some things. Some things are very difficult to touch without putting more confusion into whatever's going on already. And I definitely didn't want to add to the confusion, because there's a lot of things that I could have said, but I'd have had to, really say some things and maybe get on people's toes a little bit. And I'm
Mhm.
saving that for maybe the inside the field on question and answers, somewhere where we have a little bit more control over the environment.
Yeah,
And more
super.
things are going to be coming up as time goes on, where we can get more and more intimate and get real with our questions. We still kind of skating around on the surface. At some point, we're gonna have to get really down and out real as
Mhm.
far as this whole male thing is concerned. So I want to thank everybody for their participation and for their questions. Hopefully, you'll come back next time and have even deeper and more probing questions. And hopefully, at that time, I'll have thought a little bit more about what's going on out there, and I'll have some direct things to say about it. So I just
So
want to
just
say thank you to everyone.
if we didn't answer your question this time around, because there are a few additional things, we'll answer them inside the Telegram group. So if you are yet to be in the Telegram group, go to nityama.com where you can join the Telegram group, and we will address any questions that didn't get answered here on the live stream inside the group there. The field membership is open. There are limited spots because we will be closing the field at certain points. So if you're interested in that, details are on the website. The Nirvana Bodywork film is also on the website, which takes you through the foundational levels, and the woman experience is there too. So thanks for joining, everyone. And the next live stream with Nityama will be in the third quarter of this year. So we will see you there. Okay.